Are they there?
No, they're not back.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay.
Oh, you are. All right. Hello.
We made it.
Thanks for everybody's patience out there. Yeah, we just had a nice tour of the new building. And so I will call the regular, board meeting of the Road Valley Transportation District for March 27th, 2024 to order. And we'll start with a roll call, please, Lou.
Dr. Kraus,
Here.
Bill Mansfield,
Here.
Tanya Morrow.
Here.
John Stone,
Here.
Jenna Marvin,
She's here, but okay.
Dan Davis,
Yeah, here.
and Carl McNair.
Here.
Thank you. All right. Agenda here. Okay. All right, any, questions, comments, concerns, edits to consider for the February 28th minutes? Looks like those were perfect as usual, Luann. Put that in the minutes directly. Thank you. Everybody's received the financial reports? Yes. Record can reflect that as well. Thanks. Moving on to new business, no awards, no public hearings. So we'll start with appointing Debbie. Does anybody want to present on this or? Pretty
Well,
straightforward.
Sure,
Good.
I get, so every year the board appoints a budget officer. And in the past, it has been Debbie. I've also served as budget officer, but we're proposing Debbie as the finance manager as the budget officer. And so the motion in front of you is, if you want to entertain that, to consider her as our budget officer for this year.
So move.
Right.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion about that? Are you willing to serve?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I guess, I don't know that we need a roll call. Why don't we just do a voice vote on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds good. That motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we have two applicants for budget committee. And I understand we have a couple of positions available, so there's, yeah, at least two. I think there's more than two. There may be three, maybe four. So both of these folks can serve if we want to appoint them. So are there any questions or discussion about them?
So in your packet is both their applications. I hope everyone had a chance to look at them.
Madam Chair,
Mhm.
I looked at, I don't know Mr. LaHaye, but the application certainly looks good. I know the Amoratico family not well, but he appears to be highly qualified. Also, it looks like we're getting some real benefit to get both of these people.
I agree. I believe Keith has been serving for
Yes.
a little while with us, so that's good that he's interested in continuing that, so. Yeah, all right, a motion to appoint these two?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
all right, thank you. All right, we can do a voice.
Do you want to do separate or together?
Together. Any objection to doing them together? Seeing none, okay.
Dr. Kraus,
Yes.
Bill Mansfield,
Yes.
Tanya Morrow.
Yes,
John Stone,
Yes.
Jenna Marvin,
Yes.
Dan Davis.
Yes.
And Carl McNair.
Yes.
7 yes votes, motion passed.
okay, thank you. We should congratulate them too. Didn't get a chance to ask them.
Both of them are on,
Okay,
as attendees,
congratulations.
so.
All right, thank you. See you again, Keith, and welcome, Emil. All right. New business, resolution 2305, authorizing the signing and submission of a grant application to low and no emission grant program, section 5339. So I won't read the rest of the agenda to you. I'll let Paige tell us about it.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair Mara. So the two action items are really tied together because they're for the same project purpose. We discussed this in the last meeting when we applied for a similar project that is going to be a congressional direct spending earmark, possibly. We asked for funding through CDS that was going to be through Merkley and Wyden and Bentz's office. We're not sure whether or not we've received that. The project is essentially to replace 10 of our gasoline-powered paratransit vans with electric vans this upcoming year in 2025. We are seeking 3 different funding sources to accomplish this project. One of them is the CDS that we've already submitted. There's another one that we are submitting through the Carbon Reduction Program, which is our second action item that you'll see in your agenda. That has a limited funding for being able to provide towards this project. It's about $1.6 million towards the RVMPO Rogue Valley Metropolitan Planning Area. And then the third funding source that we're seeking is a much larger pot. It's the Federal Transit Administration 5339 competitive grant program that's nationwide. There's a considerable amount of opportunity there, and we're basically putting in for the entire amount of the project into that bucket. So for these 2 action items that we have this evening, one of them is for the financial commitment for the match on the federal side for that 5339. And then the second one is for the carbon reduction program that's through Oregon Department of Transportation, but it's only for it's a scaled down project amount because of the amount that's available. So I know it's a bit confusing. We have it all figured out on the back end, but there are a lot of requirements in terms of financial commitment letters and letters of support that come from not only our board, yourselves, but other entities within our community. So I'm happy to answer questions on how all of that matrix works, but this is simply, checking boxes of things that we need to supply with our application.
Great. Any questions? Do I have it right? There's just a bit of redundancy in all the applications that we're doing, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
they're all and yes, so across the board, if the stars align somehow and we receive all the funds that we are requesting, we will still be able to expand. The vehicles that are in the paratransit fleet only have a useful life of 4 years. And some of the funding sources that we are requesting are available not only for today, for this vehicle replacement, but also in the next vehicle replacement. And so we have some flexibility if we actually get all of the awards, we can flex them this year and then into, next year where we do have additional vehicles that need to be replaced. So I doubt that will happen, but I think that question should be answered. Like, well, what if we get all of the money? We can use it still. We'll
About how
continue
many
to place it.
Yeah, how many vehicles would that be if we got all of them?
We're asking for 13.
Right.
We only need to replace 10
Okay.
For the replacement schedule in 2024-25. But because they're electric vehicles, we are asking for 13 for that spare ratio, just to allow for that service charging. If we do get all of the vehicles, we would probably be looking at 18 total.
Which we have another round to be replaced
right, yeah.
anyway, we just haven't considered those yet.
Okay. Oh, Denise, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I saw the the study done with Pacific Power and that we would, have the capacity, but have we talked about, is there any possibility of adding solar on our campus to be able to help offset the cost of the power?
That is an excellent question. We do have solar already on our campus. The maintenance facility has enough solar array that it's offsetting not only its own electricity consumption, but also additional campus consumption. We are also installing solar on our new transportation office building, and that will additionally offset that entire building's consumption with its power generation. There are certain things on our campus that will not be able to be supported with this, and unfortunately, one of them is electric charging for vehicles. The power consumption that's required to charge electric vehicles is of such a large kilowatt hour of generation that solar is not quite at that point with our campus to be able to do that. It would require another installation essentially for us to do that. But just so you know, we're almost close to 75% of our entire campus being offset by solar energy, which is like awesome, right? I mean, that we've been able to do that. So I'm really happy about that we've been able to do that.
Yeah, that's great. So would all of the charging for the electric buses, would that all happen at the main campus?
Yes, we have enough kilowatt hour. Well, that's kind of a technical question in terms of transformers. So Pacific Power has only a certain amount of electrical output that's coming to the campus with their transformers that are on the campus right now. We have a surplus that will be able to fulfill this current project for the vans. We do not have enough to fulfill an electric bus fleet. So the battery electric bus fleet concept that we've analyzed and we've done, our infrastructure upgrades that we would need to do and talked with Pacific Power, we would need to bring in new transformers and new equipment to supply that. But because the vans are a lighter duty vehicle than a bus, we are able to accomplish this project without having to go into that magnitude of an infrastructure upgrade.
All right, thank you.
Good.
So Paige, the vans would be charged here at this campus, not at the Valley Lift
Right.
facility?
Yes.
So our thoughts are to move the Valley Lift facility, not the whole facility, but just the Valley Lift paratransit piece of it to this building. So they would take over the front part of the building and vacate TransLink, which right now they're in such a cramped, one room about this big. So we'd be moving them into this building, and then the vehicles would be here.
Okay, you probably told us that before, but it's hard to keep track of all the moving
I
pieces.
don't know if I told you that before, but it's hard for me to keep track of it all too.
One other question is, we've been, in my day job at the city, we've been looking at the carbon reduction program also. And I know there's Buy America requirements. Do you know, are these vans Buy America compliant?
They are.
Oh,
Yes.
So these vans happen to be by America.
that's great.
Hold on, got Don first, go ahead, Don.
Yeah, where do we stand on maintenance and upkeep of these vehicles? I noted a few EVs as we walked into the building. Are we up to snuff in terms of the training for the electric vehicles?
So I will look to Nick to answer that question. I think I know the answer, but I'm not gonna jump and have you tell me I'm wrong. So go ahead.
Of course, thank you, Julie. So with the maintenance of those, it's kind of a two-part because right now we're actively training the maintenance crews to maintain the upcoming hybrid electric buses that we're taking delivery of in October. With these vehicles, we typically are pretty hands-off. Because by the time we get to their end of the useful life, they're still within a warranty period. So we have the dealership take care of any high voltage issues with them. And we just do the PMs on like brakes and suspension and things of that nature. But as we move forward with this, there will be some training that's required. Definitely. It's all safety related, you know, dealing with the, you know, high voltage, 600 plus volts in the battery pack. You really have to be careful and be well trained to deal with like that.
Dan?
So what happens to the old vehicles?
Typically, when we get rid of a vehicle, we just put it up for auction. And then,
Or if it's a Valley Lift vehicle that's wheelchair equipped, we turn first to our nonprofits in the community. And then if nobody needs a vehicle, then we put them for auction. But like these vehicles out here, the little EVs, as their useful life ends, we'll put them, those will go up for auction.
So if we have some nonprofits that want some of the wheelchair vehicles, do we donate those or?
We do donate them, yes. And our reasoning behind that has been just so the board understands. When we put them up for auction, usually you don't get a lot of money for them. But the second piece is that when we donate in our community, it helps offset the people that are using the Valley Lift program. So a lot of the nonprofits are able to provide free transportation versus a customer, a Valley Lift customer having to pay their fare. So a lot of times we will donate to different organizations. Living Opportunities is an example. We're donating some to Road Retreat to help with the urban campground. And for the Hope Village, we've donated to Access and different organizations. So over the years, this has just been the practice of RVTD. And it's been successful, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is it's helped us to meet our capacity needs too.
Hope we can get a good publicity blitz for doing things like that.
We can try. I mean, it has been put in the newsletter before. So when we do donate, we do try to let the community know that we've done that, try to make a big deal out of it. Because it is important, I think, to show that we're supporting others that are transporting people.
Don?
Is there any mechanism following on to we use vehicles? Is there any benefit to disassembling the vehicles or the lift mechanisms, all of the safety mechanisms that have to be installed when they're new?
Sure.
But I'm thinking perhaps they would be available to us to
Yes.
recycle.
So we have, we call it cannibalized, some of those vehicles that people haven't taken, or they've been in such poor shape that they're a safety hazard. We've taken lifts out, we've taken different things out to keep as spare parts for our vehicles. And we've been able to do that in the past, is recycle and put a lift back in. You have to be really careful when you start taking those vehicles apart and doing that, because they've been Altune tested, especially our buses. You can't necessarily change out things. So you have to put the same kind of lift back in. You can't do a newer lift or a different lift. It did go through the testing, but would you do that? Yes.
All right, anybody interested in moving adoption of resolution number 2305?
So moved.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a quick roll call, if you don't mind. Okay.
Dr. Kraus,
Yes.
Bill Mansfield,
Yes,
Tanya Morrow,
Yes.
John Stone,
Yes,
Jenna Marmon,
Yep.
Dan Davis,
Yes.
and Carl McNair.
Yes.
7 yes votes.
Thank you. Do we have any further presentation on the small urban carbon reduction funding program? I don't think it's necessarily needed, but just wanted to check in with you.
Yeah, not really. I mean, like we've discussed, it's a piece of the same project, but because of the limitations on the funding that's available to our small urban area, which is approximately 1.6 million, the application is scaled down to support the number of vehicles that would be in our area, which is 5 instead of the 13. I think to address the comment that Board Member McNair made, we do have competition within our urban area for these funds. This is a allocation to the Rogue Valley MPO area. However, any jurisdiction that's within this area can also submit an application. This is the last round of funding that would be available for the carbon reduction program. And so RVTD is excited to be able to identify a project and be able to submit this project. We do have support from the RV Act as well that just occurred last week for this project. And I think personally, it's a very competitive project, and I hope that the state decides to fund it for the RV MPO area.
Thanks. Any further discussion, or is there a motion to approve?
Move approval of the letter of support.
Right. Go ahead, Lou.
Dr. Kraus,
Yes.
Bill Mansfield,
Yes.
Tanya Morrow.
Yes.
Don Stone,
Yes,
Jenna Marmon,
Yes.
Dan Davis,
Yes.
Carl McNair.
Yes.
7 yes.
Thank you. Thanks for all the good work, Paige.
Thank you.
I don't know if we're even applying.
Oh, okay. They couldn't find anything made in America, sorry. All right, reports from the general manager.
So, last month I reported that we were making a switch over in the Valley Lift program, just in the Valley Lift program with software for scheduling. That has started. It has not been 100% successful, to where we feel very comfortable. And one of the things that is going on is, we're doing a lot of hand scheduling at this point because the algorithm hasn't completely been developed correctly to meet all of the rules under ADA. So, with that said, we haven't given up and walked away from the project. Our staff have been working diligently with the developers to get it to work. We're able to take the call, we're able to schedule the rides, that isn't the problem. It's making sure that the vehicle gets there within the windows that are required, that we're not breaking any ADA rules on that piece of it, and it's been a challenge. Second piece that has been a challenge for us is we're moving between 2 software products. So the NEMT, our non-emergent medical transportation software, is next in line to be changed over. We're really fearful of that at this point. So we've been kind of just trying to dial in the ADA. So right now the staff are toggling between 2 different software programs. The queues in the call center are stacking up. And so I know there's been some frustration with the public. And we apologize for that, but we are trying the best we can. This is kind of typical of a software rollout. We've done it before and had the same typical problems. I wish that, Microsoft or somebody was smart enough to come up with a software that works. But no, so far, nobody has ever in my career been able to come up with a really good software. So in the meantime, we're doing our due diligence and keeping after it, but it has been a challenge. And I'll give you a report if you continue having problems. Not sure what's going on.
Sorry.
Is that you?
Yeah.
You're fired. Okay, next on, I'm just joking. Yes.
Who's the software supplier?
So it's called Q-Ride and they are out of Massachusetts. They are well known on the East Coast, and have been doing this. But if you think about the East Coast and all of the different transit agencies, they're pretty small. And the area they cover is usually pretty small. It's not like Oregon where you're covering such massive amounts of real estate. So that's kind of been the challenge for them. I'm trying to get all the speed limits, all the different things that in the algorithm correct. And then you have to think about our Valley Lift program is set up so that it isn't just a single rider. It's multiple riders. So you're trying to work within windows of picking up people and getting them to their destination within what is acceptable by FTA. So it's been a challenge for them. But, you know, they, a lot of the people that are working on it are based in India. Very smart individuals when it comes to programming, and so, we'll see what happens. But we did, put a bond on this. And so if it doesn't work out, we will pursue those avenues of getting our money back and making sure that, we can find another product. But I can tell you that we did do an RFP on this. We looked at various software vendors, and people all over the nation have been using them. It's just that they're just finding challenges here. They're also doing a project in Corvallis, and they're running into the same problem. So more to come, we'll see what happens, but it's been a little frustrating for Mr. Fountain. I don't think he's on here tonight because he's pretty much done
Exhausted.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I will have him give an update at the next one. He said, okay. So today, he's not feeling well. I think we made him sick. The other thing I wanted to report is that we are members of the Bus Coalition out of Washington, DC. They work on representing transit agencies across the nation. And some of the things that they've worked out on over the last probably 4 or 5 years is additional funding for the 5339 program to try to get more buses available. They've been working on really trying to dial that piece of it in and get the funding not only for that, but the 5307 dollars, the operating dollars, back up to a level that it used to be at. So over the years, they've kind of chopped away at that, the Ways and Means Committee or Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, and decrease the amount of money that's been coming from the federal government. And they've actually been very successful in getting a lot of money put back in for small urban and for the vehicles. So that's why you see so many vehicles being available, and the competitiveness of the 5339 program and our ability to actually win some projects. They are in the process of asking transit agencies to sign on, having the general manager sign a letter of support for a Buy America waiver on some of the small electric vehicles. Because what they're finding is we're down to just a few manufacturers. So on the buses, we're talking about Gilligan, New Flyer. Everybody else has gone bankrupt. On the small vehicle size, they are looking at some other products that are in the United Kingdom that have been successful, and they've been using them for many years, but they don't meet Buy America. So they're asking for a 2-year waiver and asking for general managers to sign on. And I didn't feel comfortable doing that without talking to the board and seeing what your consensus is, how you feel about that, because it is putting our name to something. There is a vehicle that we've looked at repeatedly, and we were really hoping that it would either get the waiver or that it would actually pass the Altoona testing and they would be able to start building it. It's in India, is that correct?
I believe so.
It's out of India. It's larger than a cutaway, but smaller than a 30-foot bus. So it's something that would work on our community connectors, our smaller routes, our Route 17 in Ashland and some of the others. And so we've been just sitting back and watching what happens. But now it's come down to they're looking for letters of support from everyone, or to just sign on to the letter of support that will go to the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. So
is the waiver like a full waiver? So if a vehicle is fully manufactured in India, that it would, like, no components are American made, then
at this
okay.
point, so they're asking for a 2-year waiver to build their plant here. So they're planning on coming to America and build the plant.
Okay,
But they're asking for a 2-year waiver so that they could start bringing the vehicles over now, or some of them, to get people to start trying them out and using them. But they've been using, these vehicles have been going all over the United Kingdom for many years, so.
So is this targeted to this particular manufacturer then, or is it just it's a general?
It would be a general for any
Anything, yeah.
manufacturer that wanted to come to the United States. They'd give them a 2-year waiver to get everything done and get everything tested.
How do these vehicles differ from, say, the short buses that we're used to seeing?
So for ours, so if it's a transit fixed route bus, 30-foot to 35-foot is your smallest buses. And we have a lot in our fleet that are 30-foot, correct?
Correct.
So these are how long, Nick, do you remember?
About 25 foot.
25 foot.
Better
they're-
for range then and stuff, right?
Better range, and if you want to talk to it, Nick.
Yeah, I wish I would have brought a picture of them. They're a unique vehicle. They're a almost fully low floor vehicle, which is pretty unique for that category of vehicle. So you don't have steps getting into it. You just walk through basically, one step about that high. You've got a flat platform that you can sit on. And the benefit of that is they're electric. So the batteries and the full drivetrain are up front. So you don't have a drive line or any obstructions in the passenger area. They're pretty, I actually had the chance to ride on one in Washington DC a while back. Pretty impressive vehicles.
All right, I'm assuming staff is interested in signing on. Is there any objection to staff signing on to this letter? Is it Bus Coalition? Is that
It's a
it?
bus coalition, so it's a letter from the bus coalition to the Transportation Infrastructure Committee to consider a Buy America waiver for 2 years.
You want a motion?
I don't know that, I guess we could do a motion or,
Yeah.
unless anybody objects, I mean, I guess.
Say go do it.
Yes,
So,
all right. No objections, it looks like, so.
Okay. I did go to Washington DC and I was able to go to our congressional offices and talk to them about our, we have it's called, what is it called now, Paige? I don't know if you're still there. It's not it used to be a Congressional Direct Spending,
Right.
CDS, and now it's a CIP, which
I
is
think
a
it's still called that.
Congressional Infrastructure Program.
Oh,
So now it's a CIP.
Okay.
And talked. Whoops, is she on there?
She was.
Okay, so I was able to meet with, Senator Merkley's staff, Senator Wyden's staff, and also with Congressman Benz, and talk to him about this. Of course, Congressman doesn't believe in earmarking, so he said he wasn't interested. The good news was we got a question back from both Senator Merkley and Senator Wyden's office if we would scale down our project. And we did. So we're just gonna hold our breath at this point and see if that happens. And what did we change it from, Paige?
so this is the paratransit vehicle replacement. We requested approximately 2.6 million, I believe. We had in our application to be competitive about 2.2 if we needed to scale down. And then they came back and said, well, what about 2 million? Apparently that amount is more acceptable for them to be able to bring to the floor of Congress. So it ended up being, I believe it was 5 vehicles and 3 vehicle chargers, which are dual chargers, so it can support 6 vehicles on either side. But anyway, that it was approximately 2 million that we needed to scale it down to.
So we'll hold our breath. But it was a good trip, I think. It was worth it. Of course, RVTD, I went because of Community Transit Association of America. I'm on their board of directors, and so I get to go to DC on their dime. So it just gave us an opportunity to work our magic while we were up there. So that was what happened. The Oregon Transportation Commission came down, and thank you, some of the board members popped in to the meeting. I also know that Tanya attended, and she'll probably talk about that in her RV Act comments, but it was nice to have the board there, and it was really nice. I got to take the commission through the transfer station and we kind of pointed out what we've done in the downtown area, what we're looking at. They were pretty impressed by our system. And then we also took them by where our new offices were gonna be downtown and showed them that piece. We didn't go inside, but we just drove through and said, this is what's going on.
May I sort of comment at this point?
Certainly.
Attended and I was very impressed with the fact that our director holds such a position, an important position in the state of Oregon. I'm very gratified with this.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mansfield. I felt honored, and so I was also, this last week, I met with the governor and sat down and we talked about the transportation funding package. She assured me that transit will be a piece of that and is leaving it up to me and the Oregon Transit Association to figure out what exactly we're doing and present it to her. She also asked me if I would continue as chair of the commission and serve another 4 years on the commission, and I told her yes. So I guess I'm not retiring.
Some of us wonder about that decision.
Some of us wonder about that
Given the
decision,
state of
including
ODOT,
myself.
but yeah.
But, I think it's a good opportunity for RVTD and be able to handle, we'll see how long I can continue doing that, but, I guess it kind of ails me for 4 years. That doesn't mean I'm serving here for 4 years, just to say. But, we'll see.
Get that succession committee going. Pretty soon.
But anyway, one of the things, it has been a challenge, doing both things, but so far I'm gracious because my staff support me and are able to pick up some of the pieces that I'm not able to always be, pay attention to. And I feel like we really do have a management team that is looking out for the district and really laser focused on what we're doing, which is great. I think some of the things that we don't get to do, or I don't get to do, is some of the fluffy things that being down at the transfer station, meeting with our customers. Some of the other things that I used to do, serve on boards that are local boards. I just don't have the capacity anymore, which is unfortunate, but I still feel very connected with this community. And I feel like the work we do here at the district is so important. I'm just.
Well, I'll make a comment now and just say that, one of the things we learned again at RV Act, was just how challenging things are for ODOT. And so my joking about her, maybe shouldn't have signed up for another 4 years, but I'll say that I think we've watched Ms. Brown, just do what needs to be done with our legislature. And if there's anybody that is really capable of really fixing this problem that we have, and it is a significant, severe problem. One of these days, maybe we could have a work study session so we can all, take a look at the slides that we get from ODOT and understand the magnitude of the changes that are going on. But I just really feel confident, and I'm glad we can support our general manager in that position, because I think it'll help us get it fixed and figured out.
I hope so. And I guess the last thing I wanted to bring into my reports was, I know that there was a request, and the chair and I have talked about a little bit, from the board members wanting to talk about passenger rail or commuter rail or something that has to do with moving people on rail. And so Chair Mara and I have decided that we either need to have a work study session separate from a board meeting, or at least put it on the board meeting to kind of give an overview. And one of the things that I think would be helpful to all the board members is that if Paige can give us an update on where FTA sits on new starts, what they're looking at as far as being able to fund this, because the funding piece of it, and we'll get into this as we go into budget, you're gonna see that we're constrained here with what we can do. There isn't a lot of money. We're trying to just roll out transit. So to add a rail piece to it is a little bit difficult, but I think that the other opportunity I had was I got to meet with the president of UP a while back, in Portland, and we sat down and talked with her, one of her VPs, and they said, we want to get into commuter rail, and I said, oh, well, I think there's a project in Southern Oregon you might be interested in, because we don't want to put it under transit, because there is a lot of regulatory under rail. It's just, there's a significant amount that I don't think this district can afford. But if we could get a third party that says, we're gonna do this and we're gonna contract with ODOT, there's an opportunity. So I'd like to explore those and talk to you about all those different things. So I'll
So
leave it up to you.
will you have time in April then, or, so we were talking about doing I think a work study session would be more informational and stuff, so. So I don't know if somebody wants to send around a little doodle poll or something that would be worthwhile, yeah.
And I guess the question to the board is Wednesday night's the best night of the week to do something like that. And if we're gonna do it, then send out a few Wednesdays that are open that we can have that conversation.
Sounds good.
Wednesday, okay?
Wednesday, good.
So working with a private partnership sounds like a good approach to get it done from a financial and regulatory point of view.
I think so, and I think that, you know, who better than to ask somebody that does rail? I mean, you know, they already own the lines, and we don't have to fight for that piece of it, but I don't know, I mean, they're looking also to the federal government to support them in those kind of endeavors, and I don't know that there's any appetite to do that. I think that it's difficult, although I think rail did better, this last, session at the state level. And I think that they did some work, I don't know, Carl, if you're aware of.
Yeah, well, and the last federal transportation package included a lot more funding for rail. It's probably still not enough to make its way to Southern Oregon, but I know also the West up in the Portland area, while it's under TriMet's umbrella, the drivers of the trains, the engineers are all employees of the railroad company. So it's kind of a mixed model up there.
The state of Washington and the state of California's commissions are meeting, we're all meeting in Fresno in, I believe it's September, to look at the high-speed rail down in Southern California and what they're doing there. And the conversation is going to be, what are we going to do with Oregon in the middle? So we have high-speed rail north, we have it south, but nothing in the middle. And so that's going to be part of the commission's conversation in September.
Okay, maybe we can dive into some of the details and learn about different models of actually bringing rail to the community. Dan?
Yeah, talking a lot about money. Aren't we just about due for our levy to come up for a vote again
It
next
is
year, maybe?
in
26, 26, June of 26, will be our last distribution. And
So we put it
so,
on the ballot in May of 26.
I would,
yes.
we had more success in the spring than we did in the fall, so I think that's a good idea. But I think we ought to start early this time and, you know, send out some cards, you know, to people in the mail, prepare them for what we're trying to do, because it might be a harder sell this time.
And well, the other piece of it is hopefully by then the transportation package will be
Yes.
buttoned up by June of 25. So that'll give us a better idea of where transit sits and our additional funding for the future. So the only other thing I have is I want to remind everybody that our first budget committee meeting is Tuesday, May 21st at
5:30, right
Here.
here in this room.
May 21.
May 21, 5:30.
Thanks. Any other reports from staff?
Did you have anything?
Yeah, just a couple quick things here. Matt's bringing up a couple photos for me.
Okay. Did you?
I was gonna ask about the administration building progress, but that might be what you're.
Yeah,
part of your presentation.
Josh Barclay will cover that. For those of you that weren't able to take the on-site tour of the building, I'll show a couple of photos of progress here. So this is our 10,000 square foot, 2-story transportation building as of yesterday. So the roof is on, the new skin membrane's complete. Right now, we're doing brick followed by metal skin, which will be going on in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Windows were scheduled to go on today, actually, but just due to weather, they put that off for a couple days. But it's coming along pretty well. Right now, we are due to move in, most likely, probably second week of November.
November?
Yep. Well, it's kind of what I'll just kind of
Okay,
up there.
you can talk
The
about that.
furniture's gonna go in
Yeah.
sooner,
Okay.
but the
Furniture,
people won't go
yeah.
in sooner.
So we ran into an issue. The only thing that's on back order with this building currently is the rooftop AC unit or HVAC unit that pushes the air through the vents. Unfortunately, that is going to be coming probably the first week in November. Our building's going to be done in most likely early September at this point.
And we'll probably have a ribbon cutting like middle October, but we won't be able to have occupancy until November.
But what that means for us is we can still actually move into the building. Like we can set up furniture and put everything that we need to actually work out of the building. It's just we won't have that final certificate from the city until November. But overall, though, we're doing really well. Next picture is going to be the parking garage. So looking at it right now, you can see the vertical walls, and in the back, we can see all that wood. That's actually the framing for the ramp that's going to take you up to the second story of the parking lot. What was the next photo here? Just the back side of the building, where you see that man lift. That's actually going to be a really nice courtyard in between the building and the parking garage. We're going to have outdoor furniture set up. It'll be just a nice place for employees to relax during their breaks or lunch. And then this is something I've kind of been working on over the last week. So this is the grand stairwell. You're looking towards our main bus yard right now. It's kind of hard to see in that photo, but basically there's going to be a mural of table rock along that wall. And then a 5-foot, 3-dimensional aluminum RBTD sign that's going to be on the wall backlit. The idea is, especially at night, it's going to be just really impressive as you walk into the building. I think we're all going to be pretty impressed when this is put together. And then the last photo is new bus we got. And you're asking, well, why do we need a new bus? Well, so maintenance guys are actually in the process of cutting this bus in half. And this is going to be the new travel training bus in the old Greyhound building downtown. So this morning we finished pulling the engine out. We're removing the fuel tank, the front axle, and then let me just get up here and show you.
They get excited
Yeah,
about this.
it's kind of an exciting project, but we're literally cutting the bus in half right here,
Mhm.
and then pushing it inside the building.
This is an old diesel bus.
Yep, we bought it from Somas, Colorado, the city of Somas. And
They
was-
liked it so much, they were like, can't we keep it? And I said, nope, cut it out.
Yeah, didn't realize it was gonna be so nice, but it's really actually a beautiful bus inside too. It's gonna have a full CAD EVL system, fare box. If you're not familiar, so in our fixed route buses, most of them have what's called the Quantum. It's an arm that comes down, and somebody's a mobility device. It'll actually hold them in place, so there's no more ratchet straps. The public really loves it. Q Strain, who's the maker, actually is generously donating one to us for this project.
So this will be a training where
Mhm.
people with disabilities or you're elderly or young and you just want to learn how to use the bus system.
Yeah.
You can be brought in there and the trainer, our travel trainer will show you how to use everything that's on the bus. So that when you step on an RVT bus, you're already familiar with what's inside it. And Gillet's donated,
$3,000 towards this project too.
so we've gotten lots of sponsors.
Mhm.
I think the Q Strength piece of it.
$18,000.
About $18,000. They've done
Very
it.
nice.
Yeah. It'll be wrapped to look like one of our existing buses, and it's gonna be a fun project. I look forward to sharing as we progress.
And this piece over here, this is our fare box. This is our training area where we train our new drivers on how to use all of this equipment. It'll actually be installed in there, and then the training of the drivers will take place on the smock bus.
Are you gonna use to cut the bus in half?
We're still working on that one, but to be honest, I think the best method is probably, once we get the exact cut line marked off, probably just a sawzall, to be honest. We're gonna bypass, big, heavy steel parts like cross members, and I think it'll work out pretty well.
So when we were at Gillig last month, on the assembly line, they had the buses, with just the undercarriage, they had all different stages. And so Josh and Nick spent an extensive time looking at where exactly should we cut this bus. And so they took pictures and figured out, the guy was getting a little annoyed with them, I think, because
I think it was.
we're not supposed to take pictures, but
Oh,
they
I
said, we
see,
need to
right.
know where to cut the
We
bus.
actually want the blueprints, please.
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah, it's a cool project.
It is. So that's it for me.
So I'm gonna take over from here with an update for our downtown admin building. Adroit's been working on this. It's progressing very quickly. We're actually in the paint stage. There's already color going on the
Wow.
walls.
Could you speak up a bit?
Yeah, they just finished a lot of the paint. This first picture here is the hallway facing 8th Street. Used to be brown. And here there's minimal changes, mainly paint and texture on the walls. You don't skip to the next one. This will be the planning suite. So our TDM department and planner's office is all in here. It's probably the least progress so far in this sector of the building. It's just finishing up the last of the sheetrock, and after that, it'll move towards texture and paint also. This is one of the offices in the finance suite. As you can see today, they actually just wired up the light fixtures, so there is finished light. There's just waiting on doors and carpet, and this area is basically complete besides a few ceiling tiles.
Do you like the color?
She does. It's her office.
I know, I could tell.
It's coming up.
Nice blue wall there.
It's looking really good. That's just the hallway for the finance department. And this will be the community meeting room. The adjacent wall would have been the planning suite that we just looked at a couple slides back. So this room is just waiting to get the final finishing on the sheetrock. It'll get textured and painted as well. This ceiling is saying existing black, kind of give an open feeling, but that's where our future board meetings and community meetings will be. This would be the hallway into the community room and the planning area that connects one end of the building to the other. And the following, this is another picture in the finance department.
This is gonna be full of
Filing cabinets.
filing cabinets.
Gonna be the new secure file storage room.
Yep.
No more Connex boxes.
Those are like-
Boxes.
Okay.
Something like 50.
52 5-drawer cabinets will go in here, and so we'll put a lot of historical documents that Lou's been dragging around for a while in there as well, and it's gonna be card coded, so it'll be totally secure for payroll information and all that historical stuff. And I'll make it last a lot longer being inside.
Right.
Currently, we have all their stuff shoved in a Connex box.
Yeah.
everywhere, so it's a huge improvement for them.
Not air controlled.
Yes, it's either hot or cold back there. That's just another view of the finance department. And this would be one of the administrative offices. I think would be Luann's office. So that one, they haven't finished the electrical on it, but it's getting pretty close too. And another view of the finance suite. This would be the main entrance that people would come through.
That's dark.
Yeah,
The phone really skews the colors. It's a lot lighter in person. Actually, the lighting in there is almost too bright. It's brighter. So probably need some dimmers in there. Everything's moved along really well. There hasn't really been major complications, just minor things. The contractor has been great, just working along through the way, is finding things that could be improved upon and working with us directly to little changes that makes all the employees' job flow a lot easier in the future, so.
Exciting, bunch of new space. Okay. All right, any questions? Not yet, just wondering if there's any questions, any comments from the board?
I have a real quick
Right.
thing.
Uh-huh.
A quick thing about Mountain Meadows. We were talking about, that's the senior or 55 plus community that is not connected to the bus route. They would like to, or I've been talking to them a little bit about, I know that RVTD has been there before with talking about Valley Lift, but can we do that again? Can we go ahead and get something arranged for them to come out?
Oh, to have the staff come out and talk about the Valley Lift program?
Yeah,
Sure.
they would like to do it, and they think 2:00 in the afternoon would be a good time. Let them know some days. A lot of people aren't aware of it, so I think it'd be helpful.
Okay, I know we have a contact there, so I'll have them get in touch with them and set it up.
Great. I also have a contact if you need somebody to.
Okay.
All right, how about the RV COG? What's going on there?
RV COG met today as usual. The main feature was a display and presentation by the advisory committee on people that are disabled. I learned two things from it. One is that there are violations. People do violate the preserved disabled parking spaces. There's lots of concern about that. And secondly, I didn't realize that the striped areas next to these areas are just as important as the parking space, because that's how the disabled people get into their automobiles. I hadn't thought about that. And they talked a lot about people that jam up those spots and thus make the parking space unusable. And that was an interesting discussion. That completes my report.
Great, thanks. All right, MPO, it was a little bit unusual. I think I mentioned at the last month's meeting that there was heard a possibility that there's gonna be an agenda item about RVTD's funding under the STBG program. Asked for some help on getting some notice about that, but we didn't get notice until, the agenda was published a week before. So, it was, I can't ever pronounce Carl's last name, but the manager there, the transportation planning department, it was his last day. And so he decided to put this agenda item on. And so I had to do some extra work because there was no real context presented. And so, but I did, and I think we hashed it out a bit. He was successful, I think, in getting some of the members riled up, as is often the case, to consider how to take some of our $700,000 that we get annually now away from us. But I think we did demonstrate that there is absolutely there's no issue right now. The program is completely flush, even though, and you may remember what the issue potentially is that down the line for the next discretionary funding cycle, there will be a potential deficit. Right now, we have STBG funds, well, we did, and now they've been transferred to the gas tax fund, so that amount has been reduced. But the awards that we've made a year or two ago are whole because we found some extra money, let's just put it that way. And in fact, there is another $2 million that they just recently found, so there'll be some additional abilities to appropriate them. So the TAC subcommittee had determined that because we found this extra money, that we didn't have really any problem meeting those obligations that we had awarded for the 25 through 27 process. We will have to consider the deficit as we go forward for the next round, and hopefully we'll have a lot more information that will be relevant to those discussions. One of the things I raised is that, and this came through, ODOT planner Mike Baker. He's been working on the transportation rule guidelines, and so it may be that, you know, we need to know what those are, even though it's a state program, because some of the jurisdictions may want to be able to utilize these funding sources in the future for meeting some state requirements, even though it's not mandated, because, you know, the MPO is a federal program. So there's that, there's other issues that I think we need to know more about, like what an awesome job Julie's gonna be doing at the state legislature in 2025. So we know whether there's other pots of money, but what's coming up is the technical advisory committee, which is staff of all the jurisdictions. We'll start working on figuring out what to do with the gas tax money, and there has been some talk about just doing a formula approach and just giving each jurisdiction a certain portion of that, and no longer doing the kind of ranking that we used to do on criteria that was across the board. Some of it was equity, some of it was climate, some of it was safety. We used to have a huge criteria set, and they would rank them, and then we would all make the decisions. The current management at RVCOG, I think, has been interested, and I don't know, maybe the TAC is as well, but we'll see on making, I think, that a lot easier, and just doing it formula based on population would certainly make that a lot easier. So we wouldn't have to go through this, you know, difficult process of ranking things and applying criteria. I think it would be an actual like loss of opportunity, because I think we get a lot out of that, because we work a little more regionally. There's obviously competition among the jurisdictions, but I think by just, you know, throwing out pots of money to everybody, and this program is gonna benefit those smaller communities who rarely have an opportunity under the current program because of the federal money to really go after projects. So we're excited about that, but lots of work to be done on that. But we weathered the storm on Tuesday at least. So, but we'll need to be talking to other jurisdictions to see where they are with regard to our funding.
And because I can, I'm gonna put it on the record that Carl Wazenbaugh was extremely rude to the chair of the MPO, who happens to be our chair. And, you know, in the meeting, I didn't feel it was appropriate to start an argument over it. But I have to thank Tanya, because she held it together. I don't think I could have been in the same room. I was virtual. But thank you. You made RVTG proud, because you didn't react where I would have.
Thank you.
So
I was prepared for cross-examination, and that's what I did. You have to do a
I
little
felt like-
spice, a little sweetness, yeah.
I felt like there was attorneys, at least she was in attorney mode at some point, because he was like firing off so many just nasty remarks, and not only to her, but to all the staff at RVTD. And you know, I was getting text messages from jurisdiction going, "Are you kidding me?" Like, nobody wanted to say anything because they didn't want the argument to go on. But people were really, really appalled by his behavior. And I just want to put that on the record, because you won't. So I did.
No, that's true. I think, for whatever it's worth, I think a lot of jurisdictions, and those that have been at this table for a while, just really realize how much, and Tim D'Alessandro mentioned it at the meeting, how Mr. Wazenbach has been sort of just not hostile, but has not been
Willing to change and look at the way that Southern Oregon, because this group normally works together as partners. He's never like that. He doesn't like that. We look out for each other, we stand up for each other's projects, and we try to move things forward. And that isn't how he wants to see it happen. And so he's brought it up repeatedly year after year, that, well, where I came from, well, we don't care where you came from. This is how Southern Oregon does it. So
He's gone now, isn't he?
he is gone, and I think that we will be able to get back on track and start working together to achieve everything that's needed for our jurisdictions.
Yeah, Ryan McLaren will be taking over and Ryan's, just a really nice guy. I think he understands how valuable it is for us all to continue to keep working together and have the hard conversations, and we will do that, but we don't need staff like actually trying to stir up policy and actually arguing policy, right? So that'll be a nice change. So that's that. Treadco.
There was no Tradco meeting, which is not unusual.
Okay.
But I do want to bring up something that I probably should have brought up under other business. There's going to be 3 city council town hall meetings for the city of Bedford. And I don't know if it would be appropriate for me to say anything or bring up anything regarding RVP. But if anyone feels that it would be appropriate, I would be happy to do so, because I'm going to be at least one of these meetings. So I'll leave that open to anyone who wants to stick their toe in.
All right, so what is this? Is it just general town halls, or is there
Yeah,
particular stuff to matter?
it's a Medford City Council Town Hall meeting.
All right.
And apparently, they're just saying it's open to the public, and it's, whatever questions you might have, bring them in.
Don, what are the dates?
I'm sorry, what?
When is that gonna be?
The dates are April 3rd. That will be at North Medford High School cafeteria. Wednesday, April 10. That's Ward 2. The first one was Ward 1. The location of that is Oakdale Middle School Auditorium.
Give that again, please.
I'm sorry?
Give that again, please. Where?
First one or the second one?
Second.
The first one was Ward number 1. The location is going to be the North Medford High School cafeteria.
At what time?
So time is 6 to 7:30 p.m. The Ward 2 will be again 6 to 6:30 p.m. on April 10. The location will be the Oakdale Middle School Auditorium. That's at 815 South Oakdale Avenue.
That's the South Medford High School building.
Right.
The Ward 4 will be in Hedrick Middle School cafeteria on Jackson Street, again at 6 to 7:30.
What date is that one, Dawn?
What?
What's the date?
April 24th.
April 24th?
April 24. And the last one is May 1st, and that's for Ward number 3. Time is again 6 to 7:30. Location is the Road X Court on Rossanley, 901 Rossanley Drive.
It's a new building.
Yeah, Logan's, Fort 1. All right. Thank you, Jenna. RV Act. I know you did make it eventually.
Too many screens. I could not find the unmute button. There's too many windows. I could not make the whole meeting. I was able to attend the presentation by Director Strickler from ODOT. More than happy to forward that around to those of you who didn't receive it and are interested, and/or I encourage you to watch the recording. Basically, I mean, Julie has been saying this for a while, so it's not news, but ODOT's in dire transportation funding needs and very focused on operations and maintenance and the gaps there, and encouraging thinking that is maybe atypical of a typical funding request, where it's not going to be hopefully full of special earmark projects that are big, new, shiny things and instead more focused on operations and maintenance. I don't know, Tanya, if there was, I know, there was a presentation by Amanda Peets from planning that, but I have not been able to catch up on any of those items.
Yeah, I would just add that it was really nice to have, the state, the board members or commission members as well as, staff down to present in person. That was nice. It was good to see Amanda and, yeah, no, it's nothing much more to share. I agree with you. Maybe we should just send a link out so people can actually take a look at the presentation that was given at that meeting. Because it was well done and it's sort of scary, but we all really should know what's going on. So maybe we can do that.
Okay.
Okay. Did you have something? Oh, yeah.
We were passing this around. I forgot. There's two things I forgot. I'm sorry on my report. One was that, the National Hydrogen, let's say Northwest Renewable Hydrogen, Alliance came and we hosted a hydrogen, community meeting here. And they let us know that there is a renewable hydrogen conference, June 4th in Spokane, Washington, and any of the board members that want to go, to let us know, and we'll make sure that we get all the information to you, registration, how you can get there, et cetera, and for, Dr. Kraus and for, Sarman, I'll make sure you get a copy of this too. So that you know.
They got it electronically.
They got it, okay. Oh, I didn't know you put in packets.
Yeah.
Don't tell me everything.
Ahead of you, okay.
And also Paige wanted to let you know, she just texted me that the newsletter will be coming out in April, excuse me, April, not June.
All right. Anything for the good of the order? Thank you all. It's good to see you. We'll adjourn.
Thank you.
Gentry.
Thank you
Thanks,
for that
everyone.
care. Fifth on December.